pause, my eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin dog dice and woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, focus reflected. Often mirrors appear clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you conceive.
Boom. Yes, it is. The truth is what you can see. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark, and it is Monday, ready for Game 5 here in OKC between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. And I'm going to say, sorry we missed you guys on Friday. We were set up to do the show, and I think we were on for 10 minutes or whatever. It kicked us off. I switched to my phone, switched us off, kicked us off. I tried to do it again, and it just messed up. So I apologize for us not being able to do the show. What a great game it was. Game 4. SGA, of course, the MVP took over. We talked about that yet on Friday afternoon on the show, that what SGA needed to do. And if you guys don't remember that, this is what we said that SGA needed to do. If the Thunder were going to win, SGA needed to go 9 straight games. That's what he's done. 9 straight 30-point home playoff games, which tied Will Chamberlain, which I believe he'll break tonight. Most points scored in the first 2 career games. Now he's third in his first 4. You look at now he's 11 30-point, 5 assist games in playoffs, tied with Jordan and LeBron. I think he's going to break that. He didn't have 0 assists, which is crazy. No assists. Let me see. He scored 30 points and 5 assists. And 84 of the 94, the 100 games they had played up to this point, we did this. And I think he's still at 84 of 102 now. Or 101, excuse me. And then, of course, 84 of that. And then, of course, 72 consecutive 20-point games, tying KD's record. And then Michael Jordan and SGA, the only 2 players to score average 30 points, shoot 50% for the field for 3 straight years. So I said, in order for the Thunder to win, this is what they were going to have to do. That's what he was going to have to do. And I think he more than accomplished that. Now, that being said, I used to really like Colin Cowherd. I used to really love his show, but I didn't like the little dude. And I'm not going to say his name because he says stupid stuff just to get because to me he has little man syndrome, and there's nothing against a bunch of, I know guys who are short who don't have the issue this guy has, but most guys that are not as gifted height wise tend to be like this, and he just says crazy stuff and he goes off, and people wonder why the NBA is not being watched this series more. Well, one is Indiana and OKC Thunder. You didn't have us on. You didn't have us on last year when SGA was the runner-up MVP. You should have had us on last year. Then you could have had us on more this year. People would have known who the hell we were. But you didn't have us on. Who did you have on? LeBron, Steph, because they're the faces of the league to you all still, even though they're old. That's who you were promoting. You weren't promoting SGA. You weren't promoting the Thunder. You weren't promoting Indianapolis, or the Indiana, which I can understand. But you weren't really promoting Ant-Man. You weren't really promoting SGA. You were promoting Wemby. But here's the issue you have. And then you have this guy talking about, referees. I'm so sick of the referee thing. I'm so sick of fouls. I mean, give the Thunder credit of what they are. Give the Thunder credit for what they've done. Give the Pacers credit for what they've done to the Thunder, making our coaching staff play their type of game instead of them making them play our type of game, which he did in Game 4, kind of. But he did do something. He took the ball out of SGA's hands, and everybody talks about, well, we only took this many shots. Well, that's because you don't have the guy, and the guy is not in SGA's hands. He's not the facilitator. That's why he didn't have any assists. Even though I think he had one that they did not give him on an assist that he had, I believe, to iHeart or whatever back door. But all I'm saying is that's what happened. Rick Carlisle has forced our coach, Mark Dagnall, to change what we do to fit what they're doing. And that's like our coach always said. And at the very first game, the commander, Randy Wright, and I were talking about this. He goes, what's he doing? You've got 60-plus games or whatever you had this starting line. What are you doing? And it hadn't been 60 games because Chet and Einhorn hadn't played together that many. But why are you changing your lineup? Because of what they did to somebody else? My coach always said, do what you do. When we practiced when I was in Southeast High School, our coach was like, listen, we're going to do what we do. If you do what you do really well, guess what the opposing team has to do? They have to change what they do to stop you. So we always focused on doing what we were best at doing, execute the best way we could do as far as our team was concerned. That's what we did. That's not what the Thunder did. In Game 4, he finally started his original lineup. He finally went big in Game 2 and Games 3, kind of, when Game 4 started his lineup. Okay. Now, at the end of the game, clearly, Einhorn is not himself. Einhorn is not himself, and that's something that he has to change, I believe. What's up, Alex? They did a great job switching SGA off Nembhard in the fourth quarter of this pick. Yeah, what they basically did is Nembhard, and this is what I try to tell people. Nembhard and SGA have been playing together since what, junior high, high school, whatever. He knows him inside and out. But this is the thing: when SGA wants to go score, he's gonna go score. Whether that's Nembhard, whether that's Neesmith, whomever. Whether that's Ant-Man, whether that's Jaylen Brown, whether that's it doesn't matter. When he decides I'm gonna go get a bucket, he's gonna go get a bucket. And I said also for Game 4 that the Thunder were going to be what? It was better for the Thunder to have sit one day. Now, SGA did play 42 minutes in Game 3, and he was exhausted, no question. And then in the fourth quarter, he just took over. And then I got to listen to that little dude talk about how SGA pushed off and all this travel and all this stuff with Scott. Listen, you're diminishing what the series has been. Why don't you focus instead of these idiot, like none of y'all are basketball players. You have no idea what the F you talking about. This is how it works as a referee. Whatever your play is, whatever your game is, that's the game they let you play. And I'm tired of these idiot reporters because, let's face it, you didn't play, you know what the F you talking about. So what you got to do is, I got to say something so people talk about it. I'm not going to mention your names. But I'm just saying, guys, shut up and talk about how great the game was. Talk about how Indiana, how they completely changed what the Thunder were doing and making the Thunder play that game. Talk about how the last two games, how they've got up and down the court, how they've run fast breaks, how they've gotten fast break points, how they've stopped the team who has the number one defense in the league against transition buckets, giving up transition buckets. Let's talk about how we've went from averaging 43s to 20-something free threes. Talk about what Indiana has done to promote and talk about how great they've done and what a job that Carlisle has done coaching-wise. Why don't you talk about that instead of talking about fouls or what this or that? Hey, what's up, Angel? Why don't you talk about that? There's all kinds of things you can talk about other than fouls and all the negativity that you've been running your mouth about SGA because you didn't play and you don't understand what the hell's going on with the game. Referees are going to let you do what you do. Whatever your game is, Kareem used to do a skip step on his sky hook. Take 3 steps. You only get 2. Dr. J sometimes would take 3 steps when he take off. Larry Bird would shuffle with his feet. Whatever your thing is, and if you do it every time, the referee's like, okay, that's what he does. And they're going to let you do it because that's your game. Whatever your game is, that's what they let you play. Michael Jordan, same way. Kobe, same way. You can go on down the list. Reggie Miller. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody has a play or a game or a move or whatever that they do that could be questionable, but it is what it is. They want to talk about the walk. Was that really a walk? It kind of looked like it, but he did get held and he pulled him off. Was that a push-off? Hell no, that was a flop. But all you want to talk about, he pushed off. No, that was a flop. Know your game instead of running your mouth because your team got beat. You didn't hear me whining about referees call when they beat us in Game 1. You didn't hear me whining about referees call when they beat us in Game 3. I wasn't whining about that. I was talking about what we did and what happened in the game. That's what you do. If you're going to report the game, report the damn game. The officials, unless they do something egregious at the end of a game or whatever, like LeBron getting fouled against the Celtics, Lakers, which was terrible, right in front of a professional, you get hit on the wrist, that's a foul. I don't give a shit if it's 2 seconds, 1 second, point, or whatever. You get hit on the wrist, it's a foul. And they didn't call that. Now, to me, something like that is ridiculous. But in the NBA Finals, if you've watched any basketball and you've watched any NBA Finals or if you watch the playoffs, the referees let you do what? They let you play. They let you play. Now they talk about the other fouls that were called. Indiana shot more free throws than we did. And you're whining about officiating. Oh, well, it was that. Okay, let's whine about that. And remember, the commander and I talked about this morning. How many free throws did the Thunder shoot at the end of the game? SJ shot remember, he had 8 free throws. He shot 2 technicals, which is 2 points, 2 free throws. And they fouled him at the end, which is 4 free throws. So 8 of his free throws came in the last, 30, 20 seconds? Why? Because they fouled him to shoot free throws, and then they fouled him. It's like, I'm sitting there watching the game. We were at Yoshimi Diba's place on Friday night. By the way, great party, Michael. They grabbed and held when he was trying to go out of bounds. Before the ball got pulled in. He held him. Matherin, that's a foul. You can't, and they sit there replayed it. He's taking off, and he's got his arm, and he's holding, and he's getting off. And they go, oh, they usually let that go. No, they don't. They don't let it go when you've got his arm hanging out, and he has to jerk away to pull away from you holding, and you reaching out. They're going to call that every time. That was a lie. Mike Breen doing your deal. That's what you do. On the announcement, y'all are terrible. Richard Jefferson's the only one of y'all that's worth a quarter. You're terrible. Doris is terrible. Then, when they ran over SJ, Matthew just ran over him. How the hell is that not a foul? You can't just run over somebody and then you throw your hands up like what happened? Like he drew a foul? How's he drawn a foul when he's coming off the double team to go get the ball and you run over him? How is that trying to draw a foul? But once again, that's 2 points they gave up. 2 free throws, and we kept the ball. So, excuse me. So national media, why don't you talk about that? Talk about the game. Talk about, let's go over the notes. Let's talk about what Indiana, the Pacers, have done to the Thunder, okay? Oh, that's the box score. Where's my... I got this all mixed up because I mixed it up. I was at the house. But anyway, let's look at this, guys. Now, they were 11-36. We were 3 for 17. We shot 17 threes. And people talking about, oh, well, they held him out. Because SGA didn't have the ball. J-Dub had the ball. He's not a ball handler. He's not a point guard. That's why. Remember, too, they shot 42%, we shot 47%. Remember, they were normally shooting 50-some percent. We cut that down. We out-rebounded them by 10. Remember the first game? They out-rebounded us by 17. Points in the paint, game 3, that changed. Turnovers, they had 15. Now let's talk about that stat, which is what they should be talking about. The first game, they had 25 turnovers. Talking about the Pacers. Second game, they had 15. Third game, they had 14. Last night, or game 4, they had 15. Other than the one game we gave them, and everybody talks about how they gave us the game. Did they? Did they give us the game, or did we take it? We gave them game 1. Now, granted, defensively, they did what they had to do to hold us back and keep us from scoring. I'm giving them that. But we gave them that game. Then what happened in game 4? They took bad shots. Our defense locked them down. Pascal Siakam couldn't get a shot. Let's give J-Dub some credit for that because he was guarding him. But they started trying to do matchups where they'd go Hallie against Chet. Chet did a fantastic job one-on-one making him shoot. It hit rim barely, but it's an air ball basically. The Thunder's defense did what? What have I talked about over the last 5 years? What did the Thunder did? Played great defense. SGA closes the door. How many times you've heard me say that? The secret to the Thunder winning is they play great defense at the end of the game. SGA closes the door. How many times have you heard me say that? Over and over and over. We play great defense in the fourth quarter. SGA closes the door. That's how the Thunder win. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. We play great defense. SGA closes the door. And I tell you all day long, every time, when he scores multiple points in a row, the other team tightens up. Their sphincter goes, they tighten up. He did it against Dallas in Game 4 last year. He did it against Denver this year, closed the door on them. He did it against Memphis. The Timberwolves, Minnesota, Game 4. And what do we talk about on Friday? We are 0-4 in Game 3 since last year in semifinals and finals. We lost to Dallas. We lost to Denver. We lost to Minnesota. And we lost to Indianapolis. All 3 Game 3s. After winning Game 2. Then what happened? In Game 4s, we beat Dallas, SGA. We beat Denver, SGA. We beat Minnesota, SGA. We beat Indiana, SGA. And then we are now 2-1 in Game 5s. I only lost coming to Dallas when the coach still don't know. You know, the commander and I are sitting up in Game 5 watching. We're like, what is he doing? What's he doing? Who are you starting? Why? He changed the starting lineup just like he did Game 1. What are you doing? This is the thing. The two-man game, when they talk about what SGA and them do, I'm sitting there screaming at the party. Quit setting screens for SGA and bringing his man up there. And I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to set the screen so that you can switch and put the big man on SGA. I understand that. But what's happening is they've done a great job of switching out and closing him out and making him give the ball up. Now, that's because they want somebody else guard him than Nembhard, who looks just like my guy, Adrian Farrell, by the way, looks just like Adrian. But that's what happened. Angel says, all I got to say is Luka was on an elite mode last playoffs. Yes, and there's nothing of that caliber in Indiana. That's true. That's true. But you got to remember, too, Angel, it's 2-2. He comes and completely changes his lineup, starts Isaiah Joe, and we fall apart. He started Isaiah Joe this year. Remember what happened in the against Milwaukee in the Cup? What happened? We fell apart. You can't do that. And then let's face it, the playoffs have been too big for Cason Wallace thus far. That's not to say that he won't show up today and he won't show up 3 days from now and he won't show up in Game 7. That's not to say that. Okay, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is he has been what J-Dub was last year and Chet was last year. That's what he's been this year for us, or the lack of his ability. Now, defensively, he's still okay. But Siakam is taking advantage of him down low. Toppin is taking advantage of him down low. That's what they're doing. They're switching out. They're taking advantage of our smallness down low, which is why you had to play I Hard and Chet. But this is my thing with that. Like the commander had, Randy Wright, had said, why are you worried? Why are you worried? We're not New York. We're not Cleveland. We're the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why are you changing your lineups? And that's what Rick Carlisle forced him to do, which he changed in Game 4. Do you see these series going 7? If this will happen, what team you think would win? Hey, Zen, what up? By the way, guys, go ahead and like this video. And, if you have already subscribed, great. If not, go ahead and like the video for me too, please, so I can get some traction here from YouTube. But anyway, to answer your question, I believe the series is going to go 6. I said that at the very beginning. I thought it was going to go 5, but probably 6. And I think had we not given away Game 1, we would have won. We'd be playing for the championship right now in Game 5. But I figured it'd be 5 and 6. I figured that we would go ahead and we would win after we lost Game 3. I thought we would win Games 4, 5, and 6. Because that's been our trend. We win Game 4, We win game 5, and then game 6, it's just going to depend on what happens. And everybody tracks this series the same way that they did uh, uh, Denver. And I believe if it goes 7, I believe the Thunder will win, because the longer a series goes, the better our role players and the better we get in the flow of the game of doing what we do, the more the series goes on longer. So I still say it's 6. That's what I said. But if I believe game 7 comes to 7, they come back to Oklahoma City. Paycom is going to be crazy. Thunderdome is what I still call it. Will be insane. And if you haven't been to a game, guys, that during the playoffs, it's just crazy. And if you've been to a game in Thunderdome, period, you know it's crazy. It's loud. So to answer your question, I think it's going to go 6. That's what I've said. I believe we're going to win games 4, 5, and 6. That's what I thought. We started by winning game 4, even though it didn't look like it for a long time. And then we won game 5. Tonight's game 5, and I believe we'll win tonight. And then I think we will go back in game 6, and I think we'll close them out. That's what I think. But if it does go 7, I think for sure we win game 7 at home, because it'll be a 7-game series. Our guys would have played together enough. It'll be home. Our home players will be playing a lot better, even though I think they're still going to play good. It's just a matter of Dagnall doesn't do anything crazy. I think they'll win. Now, that being said, I believe SJ has to go back and put the ball in his hands. Hey, Max, what's going on? I still believe the ball needs to go back in SJ's hands, because I don't think our offense runs smoothly enough to where when he's not there, he's not creating for other people, and that's just not J-Dub's ability to do that. Now, it was great because it was every other night we played Wednesday, Friday, which I said after we lost game 3 that was an advantage for the Thunder, because not having to sit for those many days, I think, helped us. I think it wore them down, and I think that our bench, their bench is deep offensively. Like I said, their bench is offensive. Our bench is offense and defense, but defense is what travels. Defense is what makes a difference. And I've said for 5 years now, defense gets us there, SGA closes the door. That's how the Thunder have won. Dagnall does now. Defense gets us there, SGA closes the door. That's how the Thunder have won. Dagnall did a great job of going 2-man game. SGA would set the screen, they'd switch, he'd get the ball back, and then do what he does. But nobody's stopping him. I don't know what's going on with my stuff the last couple of days, cutting on and off. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's driving me crazy. But to answer your question, Angel, SGA, he's got to go. He's got to go get his. And like I said, whenever he starts scoring, it just takes the juice out of the opposing team. It just does. We've seen it happen over and over. When he scores 3 or 4 times in a row in the fourth quarter, the opposing team goes, "Oh shit, game's over," because they know once he starts going, you can't stop him. They know that. And Dagnall did do a good job of this time saying, instead of him putting the ball in J-Dub's hands and all that stuff, all he did was have J-Dub bring the ball up the floor, run a 2-man game, like I said, get the big men away and let them do their thing. And normally that play when SJ hit the 3, he stepped back, and then J-Dub went to drive. Neimark was right there. Boom, he kicked it to SJ, and he knocks down the 3. In rhythm. First 3 of the game, most important. And when you look at what he does, he is the engine that makes this team go. Chet and J-Dub are the fuel that feeds the engine. They help him. They feed him. That's what they do. And you got iHeart and the rest of the guys is the caboose, making sure that nothing comes up behind. That's what they are. But I'm with you. He just needs to do what he's doing. Am I going tonight for game 5? Yes, sir. I've got my Thunderalls on, of course, and we are ready to go for tonight. Let's take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. To take a quick break, I want to thank our sponsors, SRB. If you have needs for engineering, surveying, or planning, hit my guys up over there. They love to take care of you. And if you have a water treatment plant in your city or county, those guys would love to be able to take care of you and make sure you have clean drinking water. And then, of course, Oak Grove Trucking. If you have needs for dirt, rock, or sand to be moved, hit our guys up. They'd love to take care of you. These guys are fantastic, and they are really, really good. In fact, I haven't heard from a guy today because he must be out there doing some work out there on I-240. YNB, family owned and operated since 1912. They are the bank that makes things happen. They're an equal housing lender, member of the FDIC, proud sponsor for us to go out and support women, minority, and black-owned businesses in the Oklahoma City area, which we haven't done a very good job of simply because it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. Or you can go into the main bank at 401 Elm, 66 steps from historic downtown Yukon, Oklahoma. YB East, which is off the Parkway and 66 or 39th Expressway. YB Mustang, 218 North Mustang Road. YB Parkway, which is off Garth Brooks and I-40, just south of I-40, right in front of the hospital. And then YB People's located in Bethany on 23rd between Rockwell and MacArthur. And then, of course, the House of Creed, handcrafted since 1760. As they always say, Matt, remember, pick the best for your best. And I do that, and I recommend them very highly. If you've got a significant other that likes to smell good, hey, stop by. Tell them I said hi, that you told we sent you, and they can give you some free samples. I promise you, it'll be well worth it. Let me see if we can get that working right. I'm sorry, guys. It's delayed on me today for whatever reason. I don't know what the problem is, but we got to fix it up, and we will. Tonight's game. To me, SGA needs to do what he does. Number one. Number two, we need our role players to step up. And everybody talks about, well, Isaiah Joe hadn't played. Well, I love Isaiah Joe too. But they're attacking him every time they see him. And I believe that, as Phil Jackson always said, and Pat Riley, play 8, trust 7. That's what he says. Play 8, trust 7 when you're trying to win it. That's why he has so many chips. That's why Phil Jackson has so many chips. You play 8, trust 7. So who are your 7? That's SGA, J-Dub, Chet, Dort, iHeart, Caruso. And then the question is, who is the 7th and 8th people? Is that who? Is that Queso? Or is that Wiggins? Who is going to be the guy? And all I can say is this. Wiggins, all I want you to do is shoot threes. Quit trying to take people off the dribble and make plays. Don't do none of that. Queso, if you can get some steals and get into the rhythm of the game, get a dunk or something, that will help him get going. Caruso is going to do what Caruso does. The two most consistent players throughout the playoffs have been SGA and Caruso. That's because Caruso is a veteran and he's already done through it and he has his ring. And SGA has already did what he did when he was at, with the Clippers. And then, of course, last year he did what he did. So he's who he is. But it's so funny is my friend Jennifer sent me this video of Josh Giddey calling J. Will, teasing him, giving him a hard time. And it was funny because I told her, that's the one thing we miss. And I was saying that the other night at Yoshimi at Mike Diba's party. By the way, the Chicago Dogs was great, and the Caesar salad is fantastic. But I was saying that we miss Josh taking the ball out of bounds. Remember Caruso got a stole in the game the other night because he's trying to hit SJ, trying to throw it over the top. You can't throw a soft lob over the top. You can't. But SJ needs to not go he needs to go cut back, come off hard, and then cut because Caruso had to throw the ball to get it ready for a 5-second cut. SJ's got to do a better job of getting open. I've got to fake hard and go back towards the baseline. He'll better make a nice bounce pass and you're done. So SJ's got to work on that and help him out. But with Josh, that's an easy pass. He got that. And Josh is also 6'6". So he's going to be able to make that pass a lot easier. But the question is, at that point, who are you going to trust? He tried to put Chet in there. You can't trust Chet. The only the person you can really trust is SJ, and you want him the person to get the ball. Because I promise you, if anybody else would have got the ball, what would have happened? A foul. Now, great job after he threw the ball away about J-Dub fouling Mathurin the way he did. Great foul. And Mathurin's an 80-something% free throw shooter. He's missing free throws. He went 1 for 4. Let's talk about them missing free throws instead of of the Thunder, all the fouls or whatever the Thunder, didn't get called. How about you as a reporter, you supposedly having some sort of credibility to your name talking about basketball? Why don't you report what the hell happened instead of talking about the referees and talking about Skyfall? Because why? Because we're in a clique society. I'm old school. I'm reporting what the hell's going on. I don't give a shit about the cliques. I do want people to click, but I'm like, look, I'm telling the truth. What's up, Burgess? Pay attention to listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about the game. I'm not sitting there crying about fouls or free throws and all that nonsense. SGA shot 8 free throws. He was 8 for 8. J-Dub was 7 for 7. But he shot 4 of his free throws. 2 of them were techs, and then they fouled him at the end. Free throw merchant my ass. But why don't you talk about what happened? How about them missing free throws at the end of the game? They shot more free throws than we did. How's that Scott Foster? Everybody talked to him about him being in Game 7 and he doesn't care about the crowd. No, he doesn't. But what does he do? They call more fouls in the game while they were fouling. But some of the things they were doing was getting out of hand. And everybody forgets what happens when you let NBA players, I can do whatever I want, foul you hard. What was it? Obi Toppin threw his shoulder into Caruso. That's not a hard foul. That's dirty. You stuck your shoulder. You wouldn't even try. That's automatic tech. So then when you start doing stuff like that, then what happens? Then they got to start calling more fouls because they can't let the game get out of hand where people get hurt. That's what happens. That's why they start calling more fouls, because they try to change the flow of the game by creating hard fouls against us. That's what they did. And by trying to do that, they try to take the Thunder out of what the Thunder does, and it did not work. Why? Because we have the MVP. Chet's following SGA. J-Dub is following SGA. Caruso's following SGA. Queso is following SGA. Dort's following SGA. Wiggins is following SGA. Ihart's following SGA. Whoever doesn't look like his pulse gets over 2 beats or something. He's just so calm. But they're not sitting there whining about that. They're doing what they do. Why? Why? Because the Thunder are basically saying, look, we're going to do what we do. We're not going to get in a fist pounding. We're not going to start make dirty plays. We're not going to let you get in our heads. We're not going to do all that. We came here to get a game 4, and we're going to do that. We're not going to let you start. We're not going to start creating dirty fouls. We're not doing that. You guys could do that. Burgess, they were definitely 3 flagrants towards Caruso. Caruso's 100% getting targeted to take out the game. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what happened? Nothing. We just kept playing. And it got them out of what they were trying to do. They were so busy trying to foul us and get us out of their game that they got out of their own game. And then they didn't make free throws when it counted. Yes, John, it was. It's great watching them have a meltdown. That's what happened. They melted down. Same thing that we did in Game 1. So, reality, if we don't lose Game 1 and they do what they're supposed to do in Game 4, it's still 2-2. It's still 2-2. But I believe we win Game 1, we're up 3-1 right now. That's what I believe. Because why? We are 0-4 in Game 3s. We lost to Dallas, Minnesota, Denver, and the Pacers. Game 4, we beat Dallas, we beat the Pacers, we beat Denver, and we beat Minnesota. And we're 2-1 in Game 5s because why? Because Dagnall changed his lineup last year against started Isaiah Joe, which was crazy. Completely took us out of the flow of the game. Completely took us out the game. Completely. Doing what he tries to coach. I don't need you coaching, coach. And it's just like everybody talks about how the Thunder were bad and what we're doing. Because J-Dub is running point. Because it was every other day, and you had to take SGA off the ball. Don't try to do that again. They're going to be ready for that. Now you got to go do something else, which is what happened in Game 3. What we did in Game 2, he tried to do in Game 3. Well, you can't do that. They already know what you got. You have to have a different plan for Game 5. Whatever worked in Game 4, they're going to be ready for that. You got to change something up. It's just like when I talk about when we make a run and they call timeout, you have to change your lineup. And you have to change your lineup because they have called timeout to say, okay, here's their lineup, and they're going to sub to counteract that lineup. Well, you got to change your lineup. And once again, Take J-Dub out in the 5-minute mark of the first quarter and third quarter. You took SJ out in the first quarter and third quarter. Well, you don't need to do that now because he's had 2 days rest. So you go back to the way he was doing. You take J-Dub out, and you start J-Dub the second quarter and J-Dub the fourth quarter. And if you need to snap, you need to bring him out because they're not getting some up. Then you take him out for 2 or 3, like what did I say? 3 to 4 minutes, coach. Times get tight, take him out, put SJ in, let him roll for 3 minutes, bring J-Dub back in, let him close out the second quarter, let him close out the fourth quarter. We'll win. If you'll do that. But instead, we make a run, they call a timeout, you don't change shit. Then a minute later, you got to call a timeout and put SJ in the game because you didn't do it when they changed the lineup in the first place. He's playing chess, you playing checkers. That's what happens to that. Let me see. Zins, what do you think about Shea? Has potential. Okay, let me see. Has the potential when the Thunder added him to the roster back in 2019 offseason. Did you ever think him being an MVP? Future MVP? I'm going to say this. When he came and I knew who he was, I was happy that we grabbed him because I could see what he was going to be. Did I see him being an MVP? No, I did not see that. Did I see him being an all-star? Yes. Did I see him becoming who he is? No, I did not. But what I saw is after that 2021, because 2020 was the bubble, right? So 2021, I think we won 19 games or something like that. But at the end of the year, the last 15, 20-something, 25, 30 games, whatever it was, you could see Josh Giddey and SGA starting to bond. They started double because SGA started scoring, so they were like, okay, we're going to double team SGA, and then SGA would kick it to Josh, and then we would just kill people. And I commented, that's when I first started doing the show, I started commenting on them. I'm like, bro, we're going to kill people if they try to do that. Next year, they projected us to win 23 games. I said we were going to win 40. And the reason why I said that is because I saw what the bond was between SJ and Josh. You could no longer double the Thunder because SJ was just now starting to feel his own. He was just now starting to really come in at the end of the 2021 season, 21-22 season, whatever it was. So I didn't see that, but I saw him being an all-star. But then after that year, you could just see us just go up. And then 3 years ago, that first year with J-Dub, his rookie year, I was like, holy shit, SGA is a monster. That was his first year scoring 30 and shooting 50%. I'm like, he could be an MVP. Last year, I believe, Zen, that he should have won the MVP. And I've said this a bunch of times. Had we played New York, Boston, Indiana, and Philly. Back-to-back. These games are all on ESPN, so this has been the first time the Thunder would have been on TV. Okay? And the game against Knicks, he hit the game-winning shot, remember? Which is the game he was hurt in. Then he did not play against the Sixers. He did not play against Boston. And he did not play against Indiana. And I believe had he played in all those games and did what he had been doing all year long, I believe he would have made the race with Jokic tighter, if not beat Jokic for the MVP last year. I believe that wholeheartedly. Because he dominated Denver last year, just like he dominated them this year, except for one game this year. He dominated them last year. So that's what I think of what SJ could have been. I believe he could have been the MVP, but I did not see that 5 years ago. Like I said, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I said, oh, shit, we got something here. This dude is a monster. He's a monster. That was his first year scoring 30 and 15, averaging 30 and shooting 50%. And then last year, I'm like, shh. This guy's he's the man. I think he should have won it last year. I think he should have been back-to-back MVPs. That's just me. But once again, he wasn't on TV. They weren't putting the Thunder on TV because they're still too busy trying to do the LeBron and Steph, still trying to promote them at the end of their careers. Let's go. Have you been promoting SGA last year, then there more people be watching the NBA. If you don't have these stupid announcers talking about free throw merchant and all this negative stuff about the Thunder, people will probably be watching. But all they hear is the negative comments about the Thunder negative this, Thunder negative that. I'm lying if you said you thought he'd be what he is today. No, what I'm saying is, Angel, after that first year when he averaged 30, I was like, oh, shit, we got something here. And I believe last year, I'm not lying, I said this, go back and look at my tapes, bro. I've said this 1,000 times. He should have been MVP last year. That's facts. That's on record, bro. I said that last year. And the year before, I said once he said that, I was like, oh, that his 3 years ago, I was like, oh shit, this guy's gonna be one of the best players. You could see it then. But last year, I said he should have won the MVP during the year, doing one of my shows, and I said it again this year, that he should have been MVP last year and he should have been back-to-back MVPs. I've said this. I agree with Stephen A. Smith saying that he should have been MVP last year. I've said that, Angel, so you need to go back and check some of the tapes, bro. That's all I'm saying. I've said that. So I'm not lying. This is basically what I said. It's on tape. So it can't be lying since I already said that. Oh, okay. I mean, like everybody knew he was going to be really good, but not a superstar. Now, I thought, like I said, when the year, what was it? Was it 21, 22 guys that we won? Okay, the bubble was 20, was that 1920? Let me see. We got him in 2019, so 1920. So it's 2021 was with Josh. That was the first year. You could just see something happen. And then 22, 21, 22 was when it was just, you could just see. It was just, we were going to be different. And then 22, 23, which was 3 years ago, which was J-Dub's first year, you could just see he shot 30, he averaged 30 points and shot 50%. By the way, he and Jordan are the only two to do that 3 years in a row. Jordan did 5. Now, whether SJ can do a 5 or not, he is a mid-range master, so it is possible. But 30 points and 50% shooting, 5 straight years, that's crazy. Only one person's done that. Only one person's done that. So I'm not going to put, Angel, I'm not putting him on that level, okay? I'm not saying he's Jordan because he's the GOAT. But that being said, you can just see the growth. But now, with J-Dub getting better, with Chet getting better, and my whole problem with Chet is this. He played the whole year last year. He came out this year, and he was a monster. He was everything that I thought he was going to be. He was an absolute monster. And then what ended up happening? He got hurt. And he was averaging, 25, 9, and 5 blocks or something, 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 blocks or something stupid. So you look at what he was doing, and you're like, oh, shit. Chet, and then he got hurt. And then he came back, and Chet still has not been himself. And remember this, guys, when I said that this was going to be our year. Because when you looked at the playoffs and you looked at what we were doing, we're 29-1 against the East. We beat Indianapolis. We beat the Pacers twice. The games weren't really close. If they lost game 1 and game 2, I think we go gentlemen sweep easy. That's what I think. But that being said, we gave them confidence. Game 3, they got in their running mode. Game 4, they got in their running mode because they were at what? Home. Their bench players are doing what? What they do. But here's the difference. You go look at what they shot for percentage in Game 4. Their percentage went down. They're still taking care of the basketball, which stops us from doing what? Getting out in transition. Because like I've always said, transitional buckets equal what? Flow of the game. We're not getting any steals to get the ball out to get baskets. That's not really happening for us. When we're steals, there's no steals and then transition baskets. There's just steals because we're stopping their possessions. So we're really not getting anything from that. So that's really not giving us the advantage that we need. But all that being said, we do have the MVP. We do have the best defense in the league. They do have a better bench offensively than we do. We do have a better defensive bench than they do. Because when Neesmith went out with his fouls, they had to bring Mathurin in, and Mathurin did what? Tech, grabbing J-Dub, run over SGA. That's 2 points. They get 2 free points they gave away. Then he went 1 for 3. So that's 5 points that he gave away by himself. The Mathurin cost by himself. And what did he do game 3? He killed us, 27 points. And we all said he ain't doing that shit again. Let me see, Zen's last 2 games at home, it would be perfect ending for us winning at home. You know, for me, I wouldn't mind that, but to me, what would be the most perfect thing? By the way, shout out to the Oklahoma City fans showing up at 3:30 in the morning, greeting those players. Do you know what that feels like? I know what that feels like. when you come back from Stillwater, we came back and we had the crowd out. You know what that feels like, man? That I can't even tell you what that feels like. How great you feel that these people they came out of their homes to come and greet you and say, "Job well done. Thank you." That means everything as a player, that how much your fans appreciate your effort and what you just did. So that being said, I've said it was going to go 6 games. I've said that from the beginning. It's going to be 5, probably 6. So to me, I thought after we lost game 3, I was like, don't get mad. It's 1 game. Who cares? We're 0-4 in 3 games in the game 3. So I was like, we're 0-4 in 3 games. Now, if we'd have lost this last game, then it'd been different. But like I said on Friday's show, we're 0-4 in game 3s, and we're now 4-0 in game 4s. I mean, okay, we do what we got to do to win game 4. And we're 2-1 in game 5s. The only game we lost was last year when Coach changed his lineups. We're 2-0 this year in game 5s. We beat Denver game 5 at home, and we beat Minnesota game 5 at home. So we're 2-0 in game 5s this year at home, but 2-1 overall because I included last year in our game 4s. If you want to take out last year, then we're 0-3 in game 3s this year, 3-0 in game 4s, and 2-0 in game 5s. If you want to take out last year, just do this year only. That's fine. You can do it that way. Let me see. Angel, this is why I don't listen to opinions of bandwagon people. They don't have a favorite team because that means you really don't have any passion for the game. Angel, or your team. You don't have passion for the game or your team. But this is what people do. They come out and they're YouTubers and they know how to create stuff, content or whatever, so people will look and they can talk. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. You ain't watched us. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm the only person that predicted we were going to win 40 games 3 years ago. Nobody predicted that but me. Everybody told me I was out of my damn mind. We projected to win 23 games. I said we were going to win 40. Everybody told me I was stupid. I was crazy. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. We won 40. You look at this year. J-Dub finishes out scoring over 24 points per game. Do I feel it solidifies him as a superstar with the chip? No, he's not a superstar. He's a star. He's not a superstar. Burgess, he's a star. He's a Robin, is what he is. And I'm still not sure if it's him or Chet is 2A, 2B. I think they switch. I think he's 2AB. I think Chet is 2BA. I think they're right there together. I don't know. I can't really say if I like one over the other. I mean, I like J-Dub and his versatility. But let's face it, he had quite a great year. Made the All-Star team, but I believe if Chet had not got hurt, Chet would have made the All-Star team. Number 2, he won second-team All-Defense. Why is that? Because Caruso didn't qualify. And if anybody believes he's better than Caruso defensively, dude, whatever you smoking, whatever drugs you taking, I need some because you are out of your damn mind. And number 3, he was all third-team All-NBA, which you had to stick somebody in there, and that's him. I think J-Dub finna turn into a Jamal Murray type of option guy. Well, but okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, except that Jamal Murray doesn't show up into the playoffs, which I'm okay with that because we'll get to the playoffs. And if he's gonna do that, that's cool. Okay, I'm not gonna be mad about that at all. I would love that. I like J-Dub, but I'm just saying that for me though, he is developing and getting there, and he's definitely made up for what he has lack of what he did last year. He was nowhere to be found last year in the playoffs. Nowhere. Neither was Chet. In this day and age, Angel says, in this day and age, I think of a big 3 that was formed from the draft, but I hope they can keep Chet and J-Dub. Well, okay, let's address that. Number 1, we didn't draft SGA. We traded for SGA. Thank you, Paul George. By the way, Pacers, I'm giving y'all a clap too for Paul George because y'all traded Paul George to us, which y'all ended up getting the trading Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, who nobody knew who Hallie was at that time. I liked him as a kid because I watched him play at Iowa State. Then, of course, what did SGA do? He came here. Now, this is my thing, guys. Remember, all of our players are under contract. All 15 players under contract, or 17. All of them under contract. Number one, I believe we're going to pay J-Dub and Chet this summer. We're going to give, I don't think Chet gets as much money as J-Dub because Chet's been hurt, because also J-Dub gets the extra money because he was All-NBA. So he's going to get the max. So you're going to give him as max you can, but you're going to give Chet as maximum as you can. Okay? Then next year, you've got to pay Kaysen a year early. Like you're paying J-Dub and Chet a year early. Why you want to do that? Because you got to save money. Why? Because you're going to have to pay SGA $76 million in 3 years. That's why. So you want to pay Chet and J-Dub early now. You want to pay Kaysen early next year. And you want to probably play SGA next year, because I believe SGA, like I said, he's a good dude, and he probably is going to go ahead and sign for $380 million next year. To me, like I said, I'd wait for the following year and get my $400. That's just me. I'd want to be the first guy to get $400 million. I know that's selfish, probably is. I'm not going to say it's not. It definitely is selfish, but to be the first guy to get $400 million, and that won't be forever in history, you'll be the first guy to get $400 million. And to me, the question is, do you think SGA is worth $400 million? We ain't winning this chip without him. We ain't even getting this far without him. But fortunately, remember, in 2 years, the salary, everything goes up because of why? Because of the money we're getting from TV contract. The NBA is getting from the TV contract. So the amount of money will go up for salaries. But at that point, after next year, you've got what? Remember, you got iHeart this year and next year. The following year, year 3, which is when you're going to have SGA, that's the year that you have, that's your team option. At that year, that's the third year. So, as I've said before, teams have a 5-year window to do something. We're in year 2 of our 5-year window. Next year, we have everybody coming back with no problem. But the question is, who do you draft, or who do you go get to solidify? I think we need a 6'9", 6'10" Wiggins and K-Rich. We need a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" K-Rich is what we need. Like a Cam Johnson. I believe if we have Cam Johnson, this game, the series is over. If we have Cam. But I'm not giving up Topic. So that's how I look at our team as far as what we got coming to the future. If a team can win tonight, I'm not leaving anything to chance. Team has to look to close out Game 6 on the road. That's what I said. I said the same thing, Burgess. I believe it's going to be in 6. I believe that us going up 3-2 at home and then going there, we know that we can beat them there. They know that the only reason they beat us here was because we folded in the fourth quarter, just like they folded in the fourth quarter the other night, Friday night. It's the exact same scenarios, except that they did what? SGA just took over. But they missed free throws. They did what they had to do to open the door. They committed some stupid fouls. So that's what happened. Cam Johnson's back in the trade block. Yeah, he is, Burgess, but I'm not giving up Topic. Are you? Why would I want to give him up? Because next year what that means is you've got a Josh Giddey that's a Josh Giddey on steroids if he's anything like he's supposed to be. So now you got a guy who can pass the ball in, and a guy, when they try to double team us now, you got SGA here. You passing the Topic in the top of the key. You got J-Dub on one side. You got Caruso or Dort on the other side. And you got Chet down in the bottom, or iHeart down in the bottom. Really? What you going to do? What you going to do? Okay? What you going to do? You ain't no double teaming us now, because Topic is going to eat you up just like Josh did, because I can promise you, if Josh Giddey was here now and they were trying to double team SGA to what they're doing and take the ball out of his hands and give it to Josh, we murder teams, because he was killing them, either by shooting a floater, shooting a teardrop, or hitting a wide open guy cutting to the basket, or hitting the corner, wide open shot. The ball movement was crazy. Plus, we had somebody, like what happened the other night in the game. Kendrick Williams throws his hard pass too hard on the out-of-bounds plays, goes right through the hands. Instead of us scoring, they go down and score. Four-point swing right there. Josh Giddey makes that play. Caruso throws the ball out of bounds, throws the ball away, into the game. Josh Giddey makes that play. That's what we miss out of Josh. That's what I think Topic will give us, is the ability to have somebody who can take the ball out of bounds under pressure. Excuse me. That's what the difference will be. So, like I said, you have a 5-year window. You have a 5-year window to have this team. It's everybody's under contract. Nobody's going anywhere. You got J-Dub and Chet. You signed this summer early, a year early. You got SGA, and hopefully you can get Case and you sign him early next year. Remember, you've already extended Caruso's contract, so he's set.